Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. Today we are bringing you power rankings. That's right. Have a few things. Obviously, the Packers now number one. They beat the number one team in the Cardinals. Did it with no receivers, practice squad receivers. Aaron Rodgers playing an MVP level. So we will discuss all of that and more after this. So obviously, Packers had a big win versus the Cardinals, but we're going to start at number 10 in our power rankings. At number 10, we have got the Ravens. Now, the Ravens still can be a really good offense, but as we have seen in previous games, sorry guys, as we have seen in previous games, especially against the Bengals, I feel like they stalled a lot. And so the thing that was really not really impressive was their offense. You can tell that they needed running back. 3.5 yards per carry isn't going to cut it. That's what they were getting with Devontae Freeman. And you can't run Lamar Jackson every single play. So that's where I'm like, their offense is still really good, but I do want to see them get another running back that will kind of carry them a little bit. And their offense does stall out a little bit too often. We saw it in the Bengals game where they just stall a little bit. And sometimes it does not help at all. But the thing that I think is really important is that, they should have gotten a better running back to help with that run scheme instead of Devontae Freeman. A guy that was out there was Adrian Peterson. So, yeah, just more running backs would have helped. Adrian Peterson just got picked up by the Titans. So that's it for the Ravens. Next up at number 9, we have got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I wanted to put them lower down. I wanted to put them in the top 5, but the way Tom Brady looked in this game was not impressive. 2 picks, 4 TDs, just wasn't that great. Up and down. We saw the Saints caught on to him, okay? He likes to throw it over the middle a lot. And the Saints said, you know what? We're going to disguise coverages. We're going to disguise 2 safeties deep. And so we're going to bring up a safety at the last second. And what he was doing, I was seeing this a lot. What Tom Brady was doing was he was throwing the ball and thinking that this one receiver would be wide open. Instead, it would be picked or knocked away. So the thing that was not really impressive to me was that he was getting disguises over the middle. He was not seeing the linebackers that were coming in and picking his passes off. So teams are starting, I feel like, to catch up to him. They're starting defensively to say, okay, if we cover over the middle, if we disguise these coverages over the middle, then maybe he'll make some mistakes. And so I'm just worried about if they face a high-scoring team like the Bucs and that have a good defense. They faced a really good defense in the Saints. I'm just worried that this team could get shut out a little bit. Just a little bit worried about that. At number 8, we have got the Titans. This team, very good team, but the tragic news of Derrick Henry, and he broke his bone in his foot. And the thing that happens to running backs who get ran 30 times a game is that they start to wear down. And we're seeing the effects of it. And they probably should have gotten Adrian Peterson. I said earlier on in this show that they got Adrian Peterson. Well, they should have gotten Adrian Peterson earlier on in the season to take some of the load off of Derrick Henry. Again, their division, I'm naming it right here. The closest team to their division is the Colts at 3-5. They're 6-2. So they're 3 games ahead of their next opponent. So they will make the playoffs. And Derrick Henry, if they make the playoffs, is expected to be back if they have a playoff push for week 1 of the playoffs. So if they can make it to the playoffs, which that is probably going to happen, maybe they could. Derrick Henry comes back. They did get Adrian Peterson. They're just going to have to rely more on their passing game. And this will be better for Titans fantasy receivers. So stay tuned for that. But I do like that the Titans will probably still make the playoffs, but it's a big blow. And the reason why I have them this low is because they did lose Derrick Henry. They should lose some games. It's going to be rough for them. I do expect them still to go 9-8. At number 7, we have got the Saints at 5-2. Again, Buccaneers only half a game ahead of them at 6-2, and right now the Saints have the tiebreaker. So Buccaneers do have something to fear, and I have the Saints over the Buccaneers because they beat the Buccaneers. And this team literally outscored the Buccaneers with Trevor Siemian. He played very good. They proved their defense, oh my gosh, it is really good. So they proved that they could make plays. They proved that they could get it going and really high scoring against a very good Bucs team. So they're number 7 at 5-2. I'm really high on the Saints, even though they're a little bit of an up and down team. Again, Trevor Siemian, obviously Jameis Winston out for the season. They can't trade for a QB anymore. So basically, the coach for the Saints I can't remember his name at the time, but basically the coach for the Saints is stuck with Trevor Siemian for right now and whatever his name is, Taysom Hill. So they're going to have to figure it out, but this team could be pretty good with Trevor Siemian under center. At number 6, we've got the Raiders. This team is one of my favorite success teams. Again, I don't have the Bengals in the top 10. I have the Raiders in there instead. Bengals having a bad loss to the Jets. I didn't see why I would have the Bengals. But we have the Raiders at number 6 at 5-2. I always say that good teams win against adversity, and this team has won against adversity. They have faced so much. They faced more today. Obviously, I'm not going to get into too much about Henry Ruggs, but they did lose Henry Ruggs. Probably might end his career with this DUI. Some fatal accidents in that accident. So bad move for them, more adversity. But the thing is Derek Carr playing at an MVP level. This team is looking better than they ever have. Good teams win under adversity, and so far, they've won 2 straight with this new coach. It looks like it was the right thing to let go of John Gruden. So this team still looks really good. They've faced adversity, but they've been able to come back, and I condone them for it. And I really like where this team is going. I like where their quarterback is going. And until they prove that they've won all the easy games, until they prove that, they're inconsistent, they're not an inconsistent team, I feel like this team deserves to be close to the top 5. Again, I kind of snubbed the Buccaneers below them, but you know what? Who cares? At number 4, we've got the Cardinals, 7-1. The next 4 teams here are all going to be within 1 loss. Again, I'm going to go through my tiers, so stay around for that. Basically, I'm going to do tiers of teams that I think are around the same level as each other in the top 10. I don't see a big difference between the Cardinals at number 4 and the Packers at number 1. I think it's very close. If they met again, it would be another really close game. So, again, the Cardinals might drop another game this week because they might sit Kyler Murray because he has an injury. So, they might drop another game. I'm just kind of preparing for it. And so, the thing with the Cardinals is I don't see a big difference between number 4 and number 1, but I'm going to drop them here just because, Kyler Murray's a little bit banged up. They're not going to risk it with Kyler Murray. Why? No sense risking it. So, at number 4, I think was a good thing. But again, these teams are all tied for around the same. They all have the same record. So I really do like where all of these teams are going. And I mean, Cardinals can beat anybody in the league. It's really just what day it is. And so, number 4. But, they should climb. But that Kyler Murray injury should be a little bit fatal for them. Could be important. Number 3 is the Cowboys. I've really liked what they did. Again, I'm not completely sold on them, but they did beat the Vikings, who are a pretty good team. They're not really playoff, but they're a pretty good team. I think the Cowboys, and they beat them with Cooper Rush. I do think the Cowboys are really, they have a lot of talent on their offense. Their defense is outplaying our expectations. Like I said with the Saints, both teams have surprisingly good defenses. But yeah, at number 3, again, Cowboys at 6-1, 7-1. I'm not completely sold in them because I really want to call them fakes. But at this point, they've beaten so many good teams that you can't really go wrong with the Cowboys. I'm going to put them at number 3 until they prove me otherwise. Again, they beat a very good team, the Buccaneers. Sorry, they beat a decent team, Vikings, with Cooper Rush. Like, never heard of that dude. So hats off to them, and this team could be primed for a big run in the playoffs. At number 2, yes, you know who it is, the Rams. The reason why their stock has gone up, again, I haven't done this power rankings thing for a few weeks. I've been very busy, but I will. I'll talk about this more. I'll get to the Rams. But anyways, 7-1, the Rams are sitting at number 2. I think it was only fair to put them there. Their stock rose when they got Von Miller. News come out that they got Von Miller. Now you've got Aaron Donald. People have to double cover Aaron Donald and Von Miller. When the 49ers play the Rams, this is going to be bad because you're going to have Mike McGlinchey against Von Miller. That is going to be super bad. Flags galore that whole entire game. So the Rams have an MVP candidate in Matthew Stafford. They're sitting at 7-1. Yes, they lost to the Cardinals, but that's just a game you're going to drop. 21 for 32. This is Matt Stafford last game. 21 for 32, 305 yards, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. That's very good. And I think, with Matthew Stafford, the biggest thing that, 49ers fans quote this. Some 49ers fans are still saying we own the Rams. No, we don't. The only reason why I think we owned the Rams the last few years is because of Jared Goff. Jared Goff really held that team back. I don't think we own them. They have a different quarterback that's way better. This team looks way different. It's going to be a good matchup between the 49ers and the Rams. But, Jared Goff, 49, I don't think so. It's going to be interesting. But Rams with a new revamped defense and an MVP quarterback, they are primed for a deep Super Bowl run, even though they don't have any picks in the future. So obviously, they're trying to win this year. So at number 1, sorry to say it, but the Packers have won 7 straight games. Aaron Rodgers playing like an MVP after beating the Cardinals with no receivers. You got to give the Packers credit for this one. They really played valiantly, and they beat the best team in football, the only undefeated team in football except from this. And some people will give them excuses like A.J. Green on that end zone play with Kyler Murray, mucked that play up, and the Cardinals really should have won. I don't care. The Packers have played lights out, and I really, really don't care what people think about them. This team is a legit contender. Again, I want to get into my tiers now because I really don't think there's much of a difference between Team 1 and Team 5. So that's where I'm going to say it. I'm going to get into my tiers. I want to switch it up. Again, power rankings, they're fun, but I wanted to switch it up. Wanted to give somebody a little bit of a flavor. Right before we get onto the tiers in the top 10, I do want to say I will be, for sure, for most of the year, doing this power rankings thing once a week. I was doing cross country. I was very busy the last few weeks, so that's why I haven't been on to do power rankings for 3 weeks. But you should see me do power rankings now mostly every week. So sorry guys that I haven't been on much, but there's going to be some sense of once a week kind of power rankings type of thing in it. I'm just so sorry. I've been so busy. But again, next week I'll be back and it'll be a lot of fun. So this week I'm going to do tiers. I'm going to switch it up. Again, I don't think there's much. Again, tier 1, let's classify the tiers. Tier 1, I classify as best of the best. Nobody can beat them. They're unstoppable, I don't think any team falls into that category yet. I don't think any team is, I mean, no team. Cardinals were kind of in that category last week, but they got beat by the Packers, So those are basically the definitions. Number 2, tier 2, I think still have losses, but a team that could make a deep playoff run that I'm not completely sold on yet, but they are very, very, very scary. That's tier 2. Tier 3, again, tier 2, deep playoff run. Tier 3, not sold on at all. They've been on a hot streak. They've beaten a few good teams, but their schedule is, they haven't beaten very many good teams, and they're a team that is very up and down. So those are the 3 tiers in tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Quick thing. Tier 1, unstoppable. Tier 2, deep playoff run that I think they are a team that I need to look a little bit more into, but pretty legit. Tier 3, a team that I think are pretenders in the top 10. I put them in the top 10, but I think they're pretenders. So basically, number 1, Super Bowl contenders. Number 2, pretty close to Super Bowl contenders, deep playoff run type of team. And tier 3, pretenders. Anyways, let's get it going. So at tier 1, I've got 1 through 5. Like I said, I don't think there's much of a difference between these 5 teams. Packers, Rams, Cowboys, Cardinals, Bills. I think all of these teams are primed for a deep run. I'm not going to put anybody in tier 2. I will do tiers next week, and maybe one of those teams will convince me, but I'm not going to put anybody in tier 1 yet. Packers, Rams, Cardinals, Cowboys, and Bills. I think Bills have looked super elite. I want to see the Bills. Again, I had Bills at number 5 at 5-2. I want to see the Bills run the ball a little bit more effectively. That's been one weakness that have been all year long. They just haven't run the ball very good. So I want to see the Bills run the ball a little bit better than they have been. Hey, you can't really go wrong with the Bills. I might have actually skipped the Bills at number 5. But anyways, I've got the Bills on my power rankings at number 5 at 5-2. They're still a very elite team. They've looked very elite. I don't think it would be a close game versus them and the Packers. So Packers, Rams, Cowboys, Cardinals, Bills, all in the top. So my top 5 teams are all in tier 2. Tier 3, I got to put the next 5. I think the Raiders, I got the Raiders, Saints, Titans, Buccaneers, Ravens. At the end of the day, I do think that this team is good. The Raiders are fine, but the thing is I still want to see a little bit more of the Raiders, even though I said adversity, good teams face adversity and they overcome them. And the Raiders have overcome them, but I just want to see the Raiders a little bit more. Buccaneers, they got exposed. They really got exposed. Titans, without Derrick Henry, they're going to be just floating above the water. Ravens, they need to get some offensive sputtering out of the way. So that's basically tier 3. Tier 2, the first 5. Tier 3, the next 5. I might have some more in tier 1. I might have a team in tier 1 next week. But for now, I'm just doing tier 2 tiers. Tier 3 and tier 4. Tier 2 and tier 2 and tier 3. Golly, my tongue. Anyways, you guys, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, did I put the Raiders too high? Did I put the Buccaneers too low? What other teams do you guys want to see in the top 10? And do you like my the tiers of teams? Should I bring that back next week? Again, sorry for last few weeks have been hectic for me. They've been really busy. But for the next few weeks, I should be here once a week to give you guys the once a week power rankings. So stay tuned. I should be back for most of the year, once a week power rankings. And that's going to basically do it for me. So don't forget, I did a show with 49ers Cutback. Go check that out. That was really cool. And I have it posted everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go check out my podcast there. Support the show at the Camper Report /Patreon, and we will see you guys later.